Brins in the streets, everybody, welcome. It's been a minute without any new episodes. We do apologize for it. But if you don't already know, our whole team is made up of students, and you know what season it's been in the past month or so. And but we're back now. And before we go to today's sit down, we must as a show and as cultures that are fashion and design and music pay respect to Virgil, Abloh, whom we've just lost after a battle with cancer, because I know for sure that everybody who we represent and what this show stands for can testify that they have learned or created something from what they saw this man do. And as much as Brands in the Streets is quite still local, we would be wrong to marginalize a man who had such an impact and influence in these cultures. And with that said, rest in power, Mr. Abloh. You fought an absolutely great fight. What up, everybody? Welcome to Brands in the Streets podcast once again. And today we are back at Mangrove. They're housing us, and I have a guest from a brand called Ophline clothing with me. And this nigga goes by the name of Jordan. Welcome to the show, bro.
Hey, shout out for having me.
Word.
I just want to send a shout out to my 4 baby mamas. I'm out here working for the kids, you know what I'm saying?
Is that a joke or is that for real?
Nah. You never know. Bro.
You never know. Well, what's poppin', man? How's everything, bro?
Hey, everything's great, man. Bouncing back from the pandemic. Just the post, I guess we're not out of it yet, but that post level 5 wave, just coming back into people, telling them that clothes is important again, all of that things, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So yeah.
And then how old is it if it was here before the pandemic?
Oh, Ophline.
Yeah.
Ophline is quite old, bro. So before I even joined the brand was pushing, and before the brand was even a brand, it was an ideology, a mindset, you know what I mean? Uh-huh. It's just one of those things that, like, imagine a company comes and they invented quotas and everyone knows about quotas. Uh-huh. So Ophline is more or less the same concept. We just brought the fashion aspect to something that's been around for generations.
And then why Ophline? And with a PH, no less.
Why Ophline? Why not Ophline? People are wearing clothes to impress everyone online, but they're never buying clothes for themselves. Conversations happen offline, real connections happen offline, making moves happens offline.
Isn't it a matter of preference though?
Ultimately it all comes back to reality, I see the metaverse is pushing a whole online world, but in reality everything comes back to the offline experience. Mm-hmm. I mean, bungee jumping, you can watch 1,000 videos of niggas bungee jumping, but you ain't bungee jumping.
I get you, bro. And then when I was looking at you guys, I saw this other brand that kept popping up,
Astrofit.
Astrofit.
Yes, so Astrofit is our siblings, one could say. Very close friends of ours, different visions, so we're not one brand, but we work with each other a lot.
I saw some similarity that I also happen to share with my own brand, of how you guys actually hold on that. I wanted to ask, does this edition of them, they have this t-shirt that had these words written on them. I'm going to read them. It said, meth general dealers. Astrofit meth will make your brain go offline. And then I was like,
what's behind all of that? You're asking the wrong guy.
I'm asking the wrong guy.
That design, the whole receipt idea was from one of our designers, but the whole context and concept was from one of the Astro guys.
Yeah, because I have a very interesting story about meth, bro. And I thought maybe if the wrong kid saw that t-shirt, he would have an idea to go and try meth.
We don't create fashion for the right purposes, if I could say that.
I saw that, and that's the thing I share. That's the sentiment I share when I design my own clothes, because I try to be provocative, But then I was thinking that this meth thing could I don't know, maybe I have some traumas. I used to have a roommate in my first year, bro, and this dude was on meth. And long story short, he's dead now.
R.I.P. to the roommate.
Yeah, rest in peace, bro. And I was thinking that maybe that's a wrong message to some people. Not everyone knows the dangers of these things, and you guys are out here putting it on t-shirts.
But like the t-shirt says, meth will make your brain go offline.
Ish, but that okay. Word. Good. And then you have some like somewhat vulgar designs and words and maybe imagery on your pieces. Like how do you deal with it? Like maybe when a parent is to see their child wearing such a thing,
I can't speak on behalf of other people, but as a colored person myself, that would be very hypocritical from colored parents, because they're the same parents who are saying, hey, fuck yo, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And for us, it's always been a matter of, South African culture is always like one-sided. You always see either the good or the corruption, right? And we always like, yo, we swear too. We also say fuck shit, bitch and nigga, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And we also just want to get across that, streetwear in South Africa is not just glitz and glam. Like, you come onto the street, niggas are swearing each other, niggas are talking about sex, niggas are talking about certified red flag as you wearing the t-shirt now.
I'm also rocking their brand, and it has this crazy message on the back.
We wanted to create a experience for people that is real.
Yeah.
A real South African experience. How many of you have been shouted by a taxi driver? How many of you all have seen people fight at taxi ranks?
Yeah.
But it's never expressed in the fashion. The fashion is always this one-sided thing. Like, this. But we also wanted to show, there's a different side to South Africa as well. We're not just soft people. We can stand up for ourselves, and we do believe in certain things. So yeah, it's more of like fashion self-defense in a way.
Yeah. And then Kakoti, Nochomedi, girls masturbate too, boys cry too. How do the names come about? Like, I'm sure I understand what you just said, but where do the names themselves come from? Like, is it just
It's
random?
more of, not random. There's a lot of thought that goes into it. I'd like to think so. Well, from my side, there's a lot of thought that goes into it.
Yeah.
It's things that people say and realities that people don't want to admit. You know what I mean? Taking, for example, Nacho Medi. It was one of those things where we wanted to talk about GBV in South Africa, but we didn't want to make it seem like, people approach this conversation with such formalities, and people often ignore those formalities. When in reality, you should just tell someone, bro, it's not your medi. You don't go on like that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's more straight to the point about getting our word across. And even like Kaka t-shirts, we didn't want to beat around the bush like, oh, it's smoking hot. It's looking... When no one speaks like that.
Nobody says that. But then nobody speaks like this either. Maybe you guys.
Yeah. For us, in our audience space, it's a lot of conversations like that. It's kakot, it's Afrikaans, you know what I mean? Bra, it's getting kakoed outside. Or see, you know what I mean? Stuff like that. I'm not your medi, or whatever the case may be.
Yeah. And then how is the reception of your whole movement in like where you come from? Because I come from a place where most of us who have clothing brands deal with a lot of, I don't want to say backlash, but a lot of people who be on some, they don't want to consume local products because they're local products. They don't think we should price a certain piece with a certain price because for them it's either not affordable or they just think it's too expensive for a local brand or that type of stuff. Like they don't want us to take pride and know our worth as designers or as clothing brand owners. Like how is it where you come from? Like how do they take the whole movement?
Whole movement.
Yeah.
I feel like with us we haven't received a lot of backlash, and I think it's mainly because people are afraid to hear our reply. Because like you said, we are putting it's kakot on a t-shirt, we are putting vulgar messages out there, and some people will deem it as intimidating. So they're like, oh, imagine if I tell his brother's t-shirt is not now, what's he gonna face? So I feel like a lot of people, I haven't said anything, maybe because it's an aspect of fear, but a lot of people also from the point of view we've created, the narrative we've created with our brand is that like people who don't want to afford it, we don't cater to them. Do you know what I mean? It's like if you can't afford the mangrove right here, it's not their business.
True.
It's your business. For us, it's mainly about pushing our product, learning about ourselves, and backlash. People obviously say, yeah, they can't afford this, but they can't afford it. Doesn't mean the next person can't.
Word.
You know what I mean? The next person will resonate with this product, and the next person will say, you know what, I want that.
Yeah.
You know, so for us, the feedback has been great. The sales reflect that because, like I said, from where we come from, it's how we speak, it's how we go on, it's the culture we've created for ourselves, and it's a culture we want to be proud of, you know.
Yeah.
A lot of people, when they're talking about certain things in their lives, it's something they want to be ashamed of. It's something they don't want to show, you know what I mean? And I always thought to myself, yo, if I'm ashamed of this, then what am I supposed to be proud of? You know, everything that we are supposed to be proud of, people have already taken it and made something of it.
Yeah.
So why don't I take the negatives or what people, the so-called negatives, and let's make it something? And I think that's also what represents Ophline. It's an inverse. Instead of going with the flow, it's a inverse of fashion. Kind of like how Rick Owens is anti-fashion. I wanted Ophline to be something that is anti-fashion in South Africa.
And then where is it that you come from exactly? You told me earlier, I forgot, bro.
I come from an area called Vrede Park, but I spent a lot of my formative years in a predominantly colored area called Westbury. So that's where I basically met the partners of the group and also so on. That's where we learned about what we know about, you know. So yeah.
How many guys are like shareholders in the brand?
I don't know.
You don't
like
know?
I said, I joined the group and I just have a role in what I do.
What is it that you do?
I'm a creative director, so all the photography you see on the pages, that's what I do. But other stuff behind the scenes, I'm just a pawn in this big machine.
Yeah, it's not difficult to work with like a lot of people. I try to run away from it, you know. Whoever I work with on whatever it is that I do, I try to keep the numbers small as possible. You know?
I feel like if you want expansion, you're gonna have to have the numbers to back that. And you know, not that the brand is big, but I feel like the people in charge of the brand know what they're doing, because so far it's been, for me personally, it's been smooth sailing.
Yeah.
So I can't really speak on their point of views, like, yo, working with a lot of people is hard, or yo, working with smaller group is I'm a pawn, like I mentioned, and my role as a pawn has been effortless.
Word. And then since you're the creative director, are you the one who came up with that Newton collection? Because that's like my favorite thing.
Oh, he's actually rocking the pants right now. Well, the photography, the edits, the style of how it is, everything was from me, but the fits, the design, and the name, The Glutton, was from another individual in the group who just shared the concept and we created something like that.
And then, like, what is it that you guys do? Do you do everything?
Yes,
like
we do from creating the patterns to sewing to sourcing the fabrics, printing. We have our own printing equipment. Basically, like everything you'd expect a brand to do, we do it. We barely outsource, because outsourcing is not problematic. If you're outsourcing, it's fine, but no one's gonna realize your vision like you.
And then, what do you think of the scene, the scene of streetwear in the country right now? Because things have been changing, from like 2014 to now. That's when, like, I think where we hit the peak and then we went down a bit. But like right now, what do you think of what's going on?
The so-called resurgence, I believe
exactly.
I believe that's what people are calling it. My personal views on resurgence is I love fashion brings people together, fashion shows, fashion ideas, photo shoots, these things bring people together, and the more that happens, it's good for everyone, because like you said, your roommate was on meth. My condolences again. But imagine if he had a role at a fashion show and his focus was focused on that instead. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It saves him. And for me, coming from a community where a lot of kids are dying, a lot of people are being shot, seeing fashion save lives, literally, it's an inspiration for us.
Yeah.
So overall, I love what everybody is doing, you know, like what Somizi is doing with B.I.T, because that inspires a kid somewhere who was about to pick up a gun.
Yeah.
What what Uncle Vani and Young Stilo are doing with their photography, because that somewhere inspires someone out there to pick up a camera, you know. It takes people away from killing each other and creating with each other.
Yeah.
And it's a big thing for us, because I'm sure you hear the stories about how people of our culture can be, and for me, just being part of something that can save us, that can prolong us, it's important to me. And I love that. I love it when someone is involved in it, because it means you're saving someone else as well.
Yeah. And then I was gonna ask something just now, it slipped my mind. Oh shit, I was gonna ask that you just mentioned collaborations. What do you guys, who do you guys look at and say, I would wanna work with either this person or this brand, and I don't know how long, but like, yeah, collaborations.
I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of international brands we'd like to work with, Obviously, I feel like everyone you've interviewed has said that.
Yeah, everybody
and
has,
then
their
obviously,
own goals.
they name the local people. For me personally, as if I was in charge of Ophline, the certain brands I'd like to work with is just like, not necessarily clothing brands, but creatives in South Africa, such as MHC, You go everywhere in Joburg, you see Most Hated Crew, and that's the graffiti of the culture, of the city. And I've always wanted to I would like to make pieces with them one day.
Yeah.
And other people is like JCTA. People are like, we want to collab with taxis, but I feel like there's so much creative juices that could happen if like you had taxi merch, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
People always are associated with, you can only collab with other people who have fashion brands, but I feel like it's always more than that.
Yeah. And then 5 years from now, we is the vision for Ophline clothing?
I can't speak on Ophline. Hopefully in 5 years I'm dead, because apparently the vaccination is killing us.
Well, if you do die in 5 years, rest in peace,
I hope they take the brand to the next level.
Yeah.
But I'm sure everyone wants the brand to grow in 5 years. For 5 years I hope we're all alive to see what we can create. So yeah, I know the guys that I work with, such as Gift and the others I interact with based on my role. We have we have big personal ambitions, and our personal ambitions align with the ideology of what Ophline is. So hopefully their ambitions take the brand to the next level, because essentially a brand is people working together.
And then is there anything you want to address the viewers, man, before I let you go?
I feel like one thing I have to, bruh, I'ma use my colored accent for us, guys.
Word, be
guys,
yourself,
yes, sus. I'm cuck tired of y'all saying Ophline. Can't y'all read a P and a H makes a F, so it's Ophline. I don't want y'all to phone me. Away Jordan, what's Ophline? Stop it, please. It's Ophline. Thank you.
Word, and then you talked about, oh shit, this is not gonna be, online by the time what I was gonna ask happens, but yeah, I was just invited to, is it a pop-up on Friday?
Photo shoot.
A photo shoot. Yeah, and then you'll get to see the pieces when that happens. And man, that's all for today. Thanks
Shout
a lot
out.
for coming through, bro. Keep the momentum going. Apply the pressure, bro. And thank you for coming out. Word. Out. No vacation, I'm at hustle location. Going home turned to a special